Short word and thoughts about ministry. July 2023. Any ministry or call of God begins with a love for Christ. It is a burden God lays on the heart often to serve or encourage others, a word and/or vision. A ministry could be like a hidden egg that springs forth having been incubated for years or months and is not necessarily a church ministry. It never just begins from nowhere or suddenly, but there are processes to its birthing and finally to its incubation. A ministry's life could be for years or shorter and stretch to have different arms, some of which will serve its purposes after a while or grow wings to create new formations. Arms. Ministry is God-given and may not always be understood by those around us because it is often a silently given word and often comes in times of prayer, devotion, and even in certain times of isolation, before it becomes apparent. And it is not birthed to be understood by anyone either, but to make and bring change and improve the well-being of specific groups of people. It may be birthed from life experiences, events and observations made in our society. Ultimately, it is a burden on the heart to carry out assignments and tasks for the Lord. Certain ministries are born out of life events that are stigmatized. For instance, one might say a ministry born out of divorce is a stigma, but it is a calling to minister to the singles divorced. Women especially were seen as second citizens, but were used by God. Miriam, the first female prophetess in the history of Christianity. Deborah, the prophetess and only female judge in the history of Christianity. Queen Esther, the Israeli liberator. Lydia, the successful businesswoman. Then there was Phoebe, the helper and deaconess, amongst many others in the Bible, were all thought to be unlikely people to be called by God. But he did call them due to their change of heart and will to heed God's calling. They carried life experiences that God wanted to use by taking them through a process. This process is usually unseen but spiritual. This is why it is often referred to as a spiritual calling. It can leave question marks over how a ministry came to be. However, God's ways are unquestionable. The point here is that very rarely does anyone rise one day and say, "I am starting a ministry." God calls and prepares individuals who have sought Him and accepted Him as their Savior through silent training, processes and life events to deliver certain His message, supportive words of encouragement, giving and providing supportive services in wider areas of society. I want to encourage someone that there is meaning in your ministry. Stand in faith, stand in truth, stand in the Spirit. This word was originally written and transcribed by Woman Arise and Be Healed, Writing Speaking Ministry, a faith-led ministry. Share and subscribe for more words of encouragement.